and welcome to the Order 66 Sons of the Order podcast. We are the Sons of the Order. I am Lainey.
I'm Chuck.
I'm Joey.
I'm James.
And I'm Jeff. And our topic for this evening is a question that people ask us all the time. You look at the door, you look at the window, and it says buy, sell, and trade. What does that mean? How do we do it? And what kind of things do we look at when a collection comes into the store? How do we value it? And what is that number that we give you at the end?
Well, we buy, sell, and trade.
Lainey.
What about this set of shot glasses I found at Target last week?
Well, sir, not quite as valuable as you might think. Why don't you kick it off for us, Jack?
Well, I mean, there's lots of factors. There's a lot of things, and we have touched on this a little bit before, briefly, but there's a lot of things that simply just don't hold value, that are great items. There's a lot of Star Wars stuff out there, but, you know, I'll see like a collection come in that has like 95 little Pez, sealed Pez stuff from like 1997. And or some of the fast food premiums that have been available, and unfortunately, some of them are great pieces. They're fun for the kiddos. They haven't gotten a real market yet. There are collectors that do collect Pez that will probably be offended for me saying this, and we do respect them. And there are also people that collect fast food premiums and such, but really, they don't have much value.
Are we looking at
resale.
action figures mainly here, Chuck? What are we looking at?
We're looking for anything that's Star Wars that is like in collectible grade. So, I mean, if it was something even, like old versions of some of the other toys in the boxes from the 70s, we'd be interested. It just really depends on what it is, but we primarily deal with the toys. But we also have, signed movie posters or original authentic movie posters, or we also have,
Cookie jars.
autographs, and we have pieces like Lainey said, there's an R2D2 cookie jar over there from '77. So, we're always interested in vintage Star Wars stuff and really cool Star Wars stuff that they've produced. Like, there have been people that have brought in some of the master replicas, full quality prop sabers and Han Solo's blaster and Princess Leia's blaster and the Stormtrooper rifle. And those things, the FET blaster. And those things, can be really pricey pieces. There's also been people that have brought in actual authentic movie props, pieces that were actually used on the films.
Recently. What was the one? We saw actual tentacles
from the Sarlacc pit.
Tentacles.
Yeah, he said tentacles, folks. Tentacles.
In a situation like that, how would you even... How could you say with authority if it was authentic or not?
A lot of the times they come like in framed like shadow boxes, and they have like your little seal of authenticity or a little signature or excerpt of something.
Well, certificate of authenticity. But the thing with the certificate of authenticity is to make sure that, one, the company is still in business, two, that it's coming from a reputable source, and three, hey, use your brain. Look at the piece and make sure that certificate of authenticity actually goes with that item.
So a Captain Kirk lightsaber wouldn't
Captain Kirk lightsaber would be something that our friend Donald was buying. So, buy, sell, trade. By definition, you can bring an item out to Order 66 Toys, located at 111 South Chestnut in McKinney, Texas. We will pay cash for that item. We will give you trade credit. And as of last Christmas, we have gift certificates. So should you bring in something that...
Jeffrey, it's 2015. They're gift cards.
Gift cards?
Yeah, not
what
certificates.
Did I say?
Certificates.
Gift certificates?
Yeah, you stayed in the 90s there.
They're
Come
young.
on.
They're so young.
It has a little magnetic strip and everything. You just slide it like you would a credit card. It's really snazzy.
It can be processed through your debit network.
It's like my Sinclair oil card.
What? What? No, what is that?
I cannot
I
wait.
can't even.
Being in my 50s, I hope I'm alive in my 70s to see you guys when this other new stuff starts coming out. And
That's
y'all
the
know,
gas.
I can't say it.
That's the gas station
You know?
with the dinosaurs.
What's up with those little records? They're not records, they're CDs.
It won't. Is this a 45?
I mean, damn, we're old, but we're not that old.
Well,
you know?
we're moving and shaking here at Order 66. We
Well-
graduated from gift certificates because we used to have them, and now we've got actual gift cards.
Yeah, you're right, but it's the same. It's the same.
It is.
The listeners should understand. I hope that what we're talking about. But
So our gift cards actually have a magnetic stripe on them. They're a lot like a credit card.
You can
Just,
you can reload them after you've already,
They are reloadable.
used them up.
they're
Yeah.
reloadable.
I was just proud of the fact that we went from a POS system to a POS system. I mean, it's great.
Okay, okay. All right, boy, I really want to say something. But so when someone comes in, they have stuff for us to look at. How does that process go about? Is there a particular individual at
Well,
the store that
usually-
takes a look at it? What happens? With
Usually
that?
somebody will meet them at the door. They'll help them carry those items in. We've had collections from 1 or 2 action figures to actually 4 truckloads.
Truckloads.
At one time. It was terrible. The guy brought open bed trucks and pulled up in front and he said, I brought my collection for sale. We actually had to close for 2 days just to go through the collection. So should you have something that big, 214-519-3979. Please feel free to give us a call in advance.
Large collections, advance notice is appreciated.
But we can always handle it.
Send us
So
an email at asksoto at what is it, Yahoo?
Yeah.
Yahoo.com.
Yahoo.
But actually,
So-
someone usually comes in and they bring it in, and one or two particular people in the store will take a look and
Well,
evaluate this.
I enjoy looking at them, but
I do too.
my specialty is more in the vintage items because I'm
Vintage.
that old.
Because we're old. Yeah.
But usually,
Taking it old school.
usually Josh or Chuck will initially take a look at it if we feel like we're in one of those moods where we just feel like screwing with Liam a little bit. We'll have Liam go through the collection initially to come up with a number or an offer.
It doesn't
But,
matter.
It's always important for us to have a couple of different people take a look at the collection, and then figure out what we can pay for it.
So why can't I get $600 for my brand new Wampa?
Her brand new Wampa.
Your brand new one.
Her
Well, if it's a
brand
life size one, we probably give you 600.
My goodness, a brand new Wampa.
for $600. Well,
Well-
go ahead.
I guess we got to get into the whole conversation about rarity and what items are worth, and basically what we do is we have a wall. I'm trying to figure out how to even say this.
A wall of fame.
No, we look at the item. We appraise basically what we can sell it for in the store,
Right.
and usually we pay a percentage of that. If your Wampa was worth $600, it would be difficult for us as a retail store to actually pay you $600 for it. What we would do is we would figure out maybe what we could get it for.
It's basic capitalism. I mean, you're asking, you're wanting to sell your item, and get a fair price for yourself, and we're also wanting to, see what we can do with this item and what kind of money we can make on the item. So it's just simple capitalism.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to be selling it, if you're going to be selling an item of any value to someone else for them to turn around and sell, you're not going to be receiving what an end user would pay for it.
Well, it's definitely not going to be retail price.
Yeah, you're going to be getting middleman prices.
Yeah.
One of the things that we hear so incredibly often is it's sold for $100 on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? PayPal charges 15%. eBay charges 15%.
It can eat up into the
You have to
cost.
mail that item out.
Yep.
And now you're taking the chance of it not even being paid for or not even getting to that destination.
Make sure your shipping
So-
is right.
That's right.
So your item that may be worth $100, you're getting $70 for that or less right off the bat. So please take that into consideration when you bring something in.
I think that's I think that's, and the thing is about our store and about the people here, and if you read the reviews from people, by the way, like us on Facebook,
Follow us on Twitter.
follow us on Twitter
And Instagram.
all those wonderful things. But the reviews that people say, people talk about how well. One of the things that drew me here, one of the first things my wife said was how nice the owner was here. And little did we know, did we, Lainey? But the thing is that people are very friendly here and very fair, and you'll be treated fairly, and it's not intimidating. Whether usually it's Josh or Jeff and Chuck that's doing the evaluating of the material, the merchandise, and they'll give you a fair price. And if it's something that we can't deal with or can't handle or can't sell or whatever, I mean, we'll come right out front and tell you why we can't purchase that item or give you the price you're looking for. I think you'll be treated very fairly here.
Since I've been working here, the biggest part of my job has been working on the website, but I've gotten to oversee a lot of these trades and a lot of these purchases. And one thing that just always sticks out to me, and hopefully one day I'll be doing these buys too, but it's that they try so hard to have everybody walk out with a smile on their face.
Absolutely.
Every time you guys do a deal, you go, "Are you happy with that? Does that sound good?" You make sure that everybody is happy, and that's something that like I've never seen anywhere else. I mean, sure, I watch like Pawn Stars and shows like that where all they do is buy things from people, and some of these people, and I know that a lot of it is got to do with like that they're on TV and they need the conflict for ratings and whatnot, but some of these people just don't care. You go to a pawn shop, they don't care. They don't necessarily want to buy your item. It's like they're doing you they act like they're doing you a favor. They're just like, whatever, just walk out, go ahead. But no, like these guys try so hard to make everybody happy. Everybody always walks out with a smile, and I just think that's just one of the coolest things. I'm so glad to be a part of that.
That's what I've learned from Jeff and Josh and because I've never been a businessman or is the fact that the best kind of deal is is the customer happy? Are we happy? Is everyone happy with the transaction? And when that happens, then that's the beauty of the game.
And for me, it is a lot of fun. They say it's a game. It's
that was probably the wrong word used, but
it is. But the game for me is finding that absolute perfect middle ground where you can turn around and you can say, I can give you X number of dollars. I'm happy with the deal,
right?
And you're happy with the deal. And that's what makes a good. That's what makes a good situation a good purchase. And that's something that we at Order 66 Toys pride ourselves on, is making sure that when we do something, it's good for everybody. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to bring your child and have them make the deal. I know it sounds a little strange, but I started off in this business in 1972. I was 11 years old.
That's the year my mom was born.
Shut up.
Another old joke.
God,
Hi,
they're just
Mom.
hammering us over here.
But at 11 years old, I really had no one to teach me or to show me what a good deal was. You bring your child in here, they have a figure, they have a toy that they have a double of, and they want to trade that in. We'll make sure we treat that child as if they were an adult. We'll treat them to the absolute best that we can, without question. So it's more important that a child leaves here with a smile on their face.
Kiddos are so important to us here. If you have a small kiddo that's in, elementary, middle school, high school, please bring them in. We have a report card program. You bring in your
yeah, I
report
forgot about
card,
that.
and they get to have a figure off of the 766 wall. And I adore seeing the kids walk out, and they're like so happy because it gives them such a sense of accomplishment, and it encourages them to be good in school. And we always go, all right, well, if you bring your report card again and you have a higher mark on this subject or whatever, we'll give you another thing. And they always look so happy. So please bring your kiddos in.
Could that apply to me with my employee reviews? Could I bring those in here?
Yes, Joey.
Well, so
take care
many
of
of
you,
us,
sir.
so many of us sitting at the table doing this podcast come from a background of education.
I went to school once.
I went to school once.
I worked in school once. That's why I'm not working in school twice.
But,
That's another story.
But we take education very highly here. With that in mind, if a child should come in, bring their report card in, have 3 A's, and no bad grades. I don't want to see a D or an F. A
There's
C
no
is
D's.
okay.
There's no D's in Texas.
But they come in with 3
There's not.
A's or equivalent grades. We will be happy to give them for free, no purchase required, an item off of our 766 wall. It's our gift to them. There's no other store of this kind, that would ever do that.
One thing, okay, so getting back to our original topic of, buying, selling, and all the values that are associated with those. And when you're talking about vintage figures, I would say Star Wars figures have the highest reputation of being really highly collectible and value and all that kind of stuff. And I think what has happened with that is that is translated into people thinking, oh, if I have something that has Star Wars on it, that's going to instantly mean it's valuable. But that is not always the case.
But not always the case. Just because it has the Star Wars logo on it, or that magic little mark that says LFL, Lucasfilm Limited, on it, that does not necessarily mean that that is a high dollar piece or that it's worth a lot of money. There are a lot of things that came out in the early 80s that are not worth a lot of money. There's items that came out in 1995. So 1995, almost 20 years ago, Star Wars went through its second resurgence. First resurgence being the original Vintage 1, Variation 1, 1977 to 1985. Everyone that was around at that time, if they could afford it, if they could do it, bought Star Wars figures. It was a big deal.
They couldn't keep them on the shelves.
Couldn't keep them on the shelves.
Could not keep them on the shelves, although they kept making them.
Now, for those people that were around for the second resurgence, so in 1995, was it 95 or 97 that they put out the original trilogy?
On VHS or the special edition?
Well, when they started showing them in the movie theater again.
97.
Yeah.
That was 97.
That's special editions.
In 1997, Star Wars had already started. They started putting the new figures out in 95, called the Power of the Force series. Those were produced in such huge quantities, and it was brilliant on the manufacturers, on Lucas's under his tutelage. It was brilliant in the fact that everyone went out and bought them, and so many people kept them as an investment. They didn't open them. They kept them packaged. They were beautiful. Guess what, guys?
Everybody did it.
Everybody did it.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you call me up, or you call Chuck up, or you call James up, or call Laney up, and you say, hey, I have 500 carded figures. Wow, really? What are they? Well, they're all 95 to current Power of the Force. When you hear it in my voice, that's not a good thing. Those items are worth a couple of dollars a piece.
Yeah, I try and explain that to my wife every time she looks at my collection, and she's like, couldn't you get a lot of money for these? I'm like, no, all my stuff is pretty current. It's relatively common, so no, not really.
And there are people that come into the store, they'll say, I hear this all the time. Oh, I had this, or I have that, or, and sometimes they're referring to some of this stuff over, on the 766 wall.
I had that Rocket Fire and Boba Fett.
Well, actually, one did actually tell that to Jeff, and he was very arrogant about it. And he said, "Oh, I'll come back."
Not me.
No,
I was very
no. The guy was very arrogant. I'm sorry, I should have phrased that differently. He was very arrogant toward Jeff. He was from New York. I mean, what do you say? But anyway, so
Hey, man, I'm from New York.
He's very
There
arrogant
goes
about
half our listening.
but he never did come back. So but he really thought he had
Sent
the
that
Rocket
northerner
Fire.
back to New York.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, there's always a lot of that. I mean that
I have that.
there was a collection that came in a few weeks ago, and it was and the thing is, it was somebody took such good care of it,
Right.
And it was all stuff, but they had all the things that really the majority of people don't really want or are not looking for. So it's like they brought in boxes of it. And when we went to look at it, there was a few pieces in there that were okay, that we could actually sell, but we wouldn't be able to sell for very much money. So it's like, well, what would you give me for all this stuff? And we couldn't even give them an offer,
Right.
because the quantity was a lot, but there was really only just a little tiny bit of it that we could have sold, and it would have been very insulting to try to even to make them an offer, because we try to buy the whole collection, and then we go through it, we put out what we can, sell what we can, and then we either eat the rest or donate it, or we give it out at Halloween, or a little bit of everything that we do. But they were a little unhappy leaving, just because it's always disheartening.
There are times we can't.
Yeah,
we can't
it's
do it.
you hear it's disheartening when you say, well, I really can't use this stuff. Sorry.
Can there be something that's really rare, but that no one really wants? The answer is obviously yes. I mean,
Sure.
just because you have something that may be rare, it may not be collectible.
Sure. Or it may become collectible.
It could, in
never
the future.
know.
Yeah.
Everybody next year could start collecting, those items, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we should have kept those.
Yeah.
So
Who remembers the Beanie Baby craze?
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us made a huge
creep
amount of
me
money
out.
with Beanie Babies. But Do you remember when the Princess Diana doll came out? Princess Diana bear, the purple one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that got in the car crash?
Well, yeah, it was modeled after
The
Diana.
Beanie Baby was
Oh.
never in a car crash. Take it back.
Just
Don't break my heart.
But this was the
like a candle
Diana.
in the wind.
This was the Diana bear that was modeled after Princess Diana, and that thing was worth thousands of dollars at one point. Now, take a look at it on eBay. I think you can get them for $5. The reason being is not everything that's collectible stays collectible. Not everything that's worth a lot of money retains its value.
Well, that's something I was going to talk about too. When you start talking about buying and selling, the price of this stuff fluctuates just like the stock market does. It goes up and down. You know, sometimes it's hot and cold. Some things just like, you know, shoot through the sky. You were talking about comic books. The Hulk 181,
right, absolutely.
the Wolverine one. But then now we've got Hulk 271, which is the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon. And ever since Guardians of the Galaxy was released in the theater, you know, that book has shot up tremendously. Well, the same thing with our Star Wars stuff here. You know, now that we have a new movie coming out,
Exactly.
there's
That's a
so
good
much.
segue.
There's so much of this original stuff that just keeps moving. The needle on the prices just keep moving up and up and up.
Let me hear it one time, Laney. Ain't nothing like us.
Except us.
And what Jeff has been saying a lot also, it's not a catchphrase, but is that if you know, maybe I'm the one that took this advice. If you're going to get involved in this business of Star Wars, this is a really good time to get involved in it.
Well,
And you know,
we're looking at a huge upswing as far as
It's a seller's market right now. Is it?
Yes,
we're looking at a
it kind
time
of is.
over the next at least 3 to 5 years, and I'd say a solid 5 years, that Star Wars collectibles are going to be on a huge upswing based on all of the new items that are coming out, the exposure to the new movies, and even the vintage items, because we're revisiting these movies. Episode 7 is going to revisit with Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. So we're going to get a lot of the original characters back, and all that's going to do is help to increase the value of the vintage items
So
that
if
we
I'm
currently have.
So if I'm interested in starting my collection today, you recommend the Black Series?
The Black Series.
And what's the series that was discontinued just a week ago?
Like,
The Saga Legends,
yeah.
right?
yeah.
So you say stock up on those Black
If,
Series.
My personal recommendation, and I've seen this as a huge, and I mean this has been crazy, is the 6-inch black box items.
Yeah.
We talk about first generation. So first generation being the items that were produced from 1977 to 1985, 86. Gen 2, the second release of the original trilogy, 1995, probably all the way up until
2010,
2010, 2000, even later than that.
2000.
Well, I mean, it's
Because it's the break point for me would be when
Disney
Disney
purchased,
actually
Sure.
Yeah.
started branding these toys.
Yeah.
So
that'd be a
2013.
good,
Yeah.
that'd be
So-
a good
Yeah,
delineation
that's-
right there.
yeah.
Because they have been in constant retail space since '95. They
Sure,
haven't ever
sure.
disappeared from the shelves, so to speak. So can we start calling those like new vintage, the old ones?
Well, I call them,
Second generation.
well, it's V2 or second generation. But if you want to collect something,
Pre-Disney.
Pre-Disney, yes. But if
There
you
you go.
want
That's
to
good.
actually collect something, look at that. self high five.
That was very good. Pre-Disney.
Quiet podcast high five.
No, Joey can put in a sound effect for this.
It'll be
Smack. Way to go, Laney.
Killed the fly.
Kapow.
But you look at Generation 3 or the new items, we call them, the Disney. When I first saw the first 6-inch black box toy and Disney Star Wars toy, and it actually had the Disney branding on it.
He cried.
That was exciting for me.
He totes cried.
That was exciting for me because it had all come around full circle. We were now in Generation 3. And those items, if you wanted to be a collector, that's where you started.
Beautiful. They're beautiful pieces.
I remember opening the first case of those when I first saw them, and it was Darth Maul, the X-wing pilot, Luke, and then R2-D2 and the Sand Trooper. And I remember pulling them out, and I saw the Sand Trooper first, and I'm like,
and you cried.
I didn't cry,
You shed a tear.
but what I thought to myself is, Star Wars figures are back.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I thought
Okay,
you were
so
going to say, what a wonderful world.
what do you think we can expect toy-wise from this new set of movies? And should we be collecting any of this new stuff associated with the new
course.
movies?
Well,
Buy it all.
At Order 66 Toys in McKinney, Texas.
I'm just
McKinney,
thinking,
Texas,
you know, we've got-
75069.
We've got this whole glut of stuff that is incredibly common now. What's going to be common? Not so much worth collecting. What's going to be more rare, and how do you tell the difference?
I think, and this is just from my point of view, I've always looked towards San Diego Comic-Con, and I've looked towards Celebration to be the leader in those new items. San Diego Comic-Con last year came out, was it 2 years ago, I'm sorry, came out with the black box Boba Fett. And that was a phenomenal toy.
Yeah.
And everyone that saw them, they were issue price $60. Within a week, you saw them on the internet for $200.
Yeah.
Within 10 minutes.
Within
Within 10 minutes of purchase after
sometimes
San
within
Diego.
10 minutes. And then the following year at San Diego Comic-Con, we saw the Jabba
Jabba.
set, the Jabba Castle set, or the Throne Room set. Phenomenal. It's beautiful.
First time anybody's called Jabba beautiful.
Well, greatest.
Or the throne room.
Shooter.
Huge props to our friends Adam with Day 6 here in McKinney, Texas, for their beautiful design work on those new Disney toys.
Shout out to Mike and Stephanie. Your cake balls are amazing. Please bring me some.
Well,
And those are fantastic. And I think we're getting close to wrapping
yeah,
up,
for
right?
a podcast that started off, this is turning into the Seinfeld show, the podcast about nothing.
Well, we've got to leave. We've got to be at Anaheim here in just
Yeah,
a
that's
few
right.
hours. So
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we thank you for listening to the Sons of the Order podcast. If you should have any questions, what's the email site or the email information
AskSoto@yahoo.com.
and the website?
Order66toys.net or .com.
And your personal phone number?
8675-309. 8675-309.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. For Sons of the Order, this has been Jeff.
I'm James.
Laney,
Chuck,
And Joey.
Thank you so much.
may the force be with you.
come on, Laney. The truck is packed. We got to get to Anaheim. Let's go.
Hare Krishna.